Recently, Google released the first developer preview of Android P for compatible Pixel devices. The new operating system brings new interface, design tweaks, support for notch and much more. And that's exactly why today I'll be showing you what's new, what changed, and then I'll compare those changes with Android Oreo. This way, you will know exactly what to expect when the Android P get released and how it is different from the previous iteration of Android. Excited? So let's get started. Before we get started, if you guys will find this video useful, then do consider subscribing and press the bell icon so that you get notified for our future videos. Starting with the design and visual improvements. The design changes begin from the home screen. Android P brings a minor tweak to the Pixel launcher and the dock is no longer completely transparent. Instead, it now has translucent shaded region that extends from the navigation bar and had rounded corners. Also, the search bar at the bottom now gets a microphone icon on the right corner, and tapping on it opens the Google Assistant. The quick settings and notification panels was revamped with Android Oreo, and now with Android P developer preview, we see further design tweaks. The new changes focuses on increased functionality and visibility. Notifications can now show photos, conversations, smart replies, and stickers. The quick settings panel now come with bigger and rounded icons. Also, the shortcut icons are now vertically scrollable. The new design is here though, and I think it looks great. The pure white design is a big upgrade over the ugly transparency introduced in Android 8.1, and the new button looks nice and clean, if a little bit like the iOS control center. In case you didn't notice, the clock is no longer on the top right side of the screen. For the first time in a long time, Google split the status bar information up and put the clock on the left side. This is likely to make the status bar cleaner, so it instantly and automatically works with any phone that have an iPhone X style notch. It's a very small change, but the more you know, the better. You will also notice my quick settings are dark, not light. These changes automatically along with your wallpaper image. It's the automatic theme from Oreo but for Android P. Next up we have redesigned settings app. As expected, Google changed the setting menu yet again on Android P. The setting menu layout and option are relatively the same as we got with Android Oreo. However, they are colorful and easier to see or access. The buttons for specific setting options are rounded on the edge too, instead of square boxes to select stuff. Some things like Wi-Fi preferences were slightly rearranged, but for the most part everything is the same, only with some added colors. This is a nice change from stock Android Oreo, which looks somewhat boring. However, some of you may think this looks too much like Samsung's TouchWiz user interface. Google has made some changes to the volume slider too. Earlier, when you increase or decrease the volume, the slider used to appear on the top, but now you get a vertical slider on the right of the screen. With media volume given the preferences, the second square below the slider allow you to cycle between modes. Another change that is similar to the volume control is when you press and hold down the power button. In Android P, you will see option to power off or reboot your device like usual, but there is a new screenshot feature in the power menu. Basically, you can press power to take a screenshot instead of using the odd button combination most Android devices employ today. In what's perhaps one of the worst new feature but a necessary one is the support for notch. Google knows that a lot of phone will copy Apple and the iPhone X and add a notch to the screen. Google has officially added notch support on the Android P developer preview, which will make it easier for the developers to add relevant hardware and software implementations. It could also be an early hint that Google might add a notch to the upcoming Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL smartphones as well. While the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL smartphones don't feature a notch, developers can stimulate it from software settings to test how their apps will appear on devices with notch. It's an odd change, but one we expected. Most versions of Android show more sort of information about the battery. When you head to setting then battery, you will see a list of running apps, remaining battery life and a few other things. In Android P, Google added a dedicated area with a green check mark stating that your battery is in good shape. This is likely a response to Apple's battery hose and device throttling. Basically, if your battery starts to show sign of wear and tear after a few years, Android will let you know. It's a small but potentially helpful feature that could explain problems with your device later down the road. I'm not a fan of this next change, and you won't be either. Google changed the location settings on Android P. The idea here is your location settings are very easy to understand and simplified. You can turn location settings on or off and that's all. Those are your only two options. But on Android Oreo, you had multiple choices including a battery saver mode where location options were turned on, but in a state that used as little battery as possible. Another setting that Google simplified is the Do Not Disturb option. We are a huge fan of this feature and now it's just cleaner and easier to understand. Rather than fumble through 3 different modes and level of Do Not Disturb, there is only 2 now. Before Android P, you could control everything like complete silence, allow alarm only, etc. Now there is just a DND option and a behavior selection where you can somewhat customize how it stops notifications from coming through. For those of us who hate the accidental rotation of their phone's display after sudden movement, Android has always included the ability to lock the screen in portrait mode. However, let's say you lock your screen in portrait mode but want to read an article which is easier to view in landscape. Currently, the only way to switch orientation was to re-enable auto rotation from the quick settings. But with Android P, this just got a whole lot easier. When you lock your device orientation and shift your device to landscape, a 4th icon will appear in your navigation bar to the left of the back button. Selecting this button will change the orientation to landscape and lock the rotation. When you want to return to portrait mode, you can rotate your phone, then select the same button to adjust your display and lock the position. Another neat change I noticed this weekend come to the notification system. It's hard to find, but if you go to the settings and head to notification, you can see the last 3 apps that send you a notification. Now why this is helpful? Well, if you get a notification from an app and you don't want to, head here and you will instantly see what app sent it and you can disable notification instantly. In Android Oreo, Google gave us better control over notifications and this improves on that by letting you find and stop them easier whenever necessary. One of the highlighted features in Android Oreo was the picture-in-picture support, letting users watch YouTube or Netflix while they are reading or emailing or browsing the web. However, on Android P, you will now see a small little setting icon inside the PIP mode, giving you instant access to settings or to change and customize how picture-in-picture mode works on your device. These small changes that instantly give us access to what we want are really helpful. In Android P, you will find a brand new Easter egg. Go to Settings, System, then Advanced, click on About Phone and tap on Android P several times until this window pops up. This works on every version of Android and you will see an Easter egg for that version of Android. Right now, it's an extremely bright P with circles of color like Google's trying to hypnotize users. Once Android 9.0 P is officially released later this year, this will change to the actual name and logo. Peanut butter, pancake, pumpkin pie, I'm not sure. Google names Android after tasty desserts in alphabetical order. Oh, and yes, you can zoom in and out of the P while viewing the Easter egg. No, you don't get Flappy Bird or any other game, but it's still something fun to play around with if you are bored. So these are some of the major changes that you will find in Android P. Now, I haven't mentioned all the features that this new iteration of Android has to offer, as I'm planning to make a separate video on that anytime soon. So stay tuned with us, and for more future videos like this, do consider subscribing and hit the bell icon so that you never miss any future video from Extreme Droid. So this is Samir signing off, and I'll see you guys in my next one.